All right, well, the folks at AUTOONE LEDs and Lighting asked if I could do an install video for their D2S bulbs for this 2007 M6 BMW. It's a little bit different than the other BMWs. This is a Pre-LCI, so it has the D2S bulbs in it, whereas something like the 335, it's a newer, this is a 2015, this one has the D1S bulbs. But not to be confused, because sometimes the information for these cars is wrong, but this one does take the D2S bulb. So we'll do a little setup video here on how to install these. Now I've already done a pre-drive with my existing bulbs in there because I want to compare these as well just to see how bright they are. But we'll also do this install video real quick, show how easy it is to swap out a D2S bulb in this BMW. So let's get the camera set up here and we'll see what's inside the box. Alright, so let's just see what's inside the box here from AUTOONE. And I've already opened it up to see, but you can see on here they sell the D1S, D2S, D3 and D4 S's, but they all look like the little same box here. But one of the nice things about inside of here that they give you is a pair of little cotton gloves. Now these are important on any of these bulbs, Xenon type bulbs. This is not an LED, this is an actual Xenon type bulb, is that you need these little cotton gloves because you can't get oily fingerprints on the bulbs. So I'm not going to take them out, but you can see the little bulbs are in there, and that's the D2S style. It doesn't have the big square thing on the back of it like a D1S, but these are pretty easy to install. They just lock in. You got to take the little backer piece off. The only hard part about the whole thing is getting the little connector back up, but we'll show that when we get under the car and we see what's going on. So one issue we have on these cars, to access it, to put the bulbs in, there's a little panel right here we need to take off, but because the car sits so low, you can't get your hand in there very well at all. So you do need to lift the vehicle up. You don't have to take the tire off or anything. I'm not going to do that, but we do have to lift it up a little bit to get us some clearance in here so we can get our hand in there and get that bulb changed out without it bumping on anything or getting dirty. So step one of the whole thing is we got to lift the car up. Now I got it on a car lift, but you don't need it. We just have to lift the car up. But you'll see when I raise it up on the car lift, I'm going to have plenty of access to stick my hand up in there and get these bulbs changed out. So we'll just raise it up real quick. And there we go. So we're on the locks. I don't have to go that high. I would just have to raise it up until I cleared everything. But I got to get on the locks on my lift. So now we're up high and we got plenty of room that we can reach inside of here and we can access this panel that's right there where my hand is. So not too bad to do. All we got to do is get it up a little bit so we can get in there, and then we'll get set up here and we'll change this bulb out real quick. Alright, so with the car lifted up, the only thing that stands between us and the bulb is just this little protector, and I got a flashlight up in there so I can see. So now we got enough room that I can take that screw loose like that, and we'll just rotate him up here out of our way. So on the back side back here, you can see that's the access for the Xenon bulbs for this car. So let's just pop this off. So all you do is just reach up there with your thumb, pull down, and it'll pop that little tab off. So now we got access. So right behind this little module right here is actually the bulb. Now these are pretty cool, these D2S bulbs, because all you got to do is just twist this thing and it'll automatically disconnect the connector. But the only hard part of the whole thing is getting that little connector back in there, because there's limited space over on the driver's side of this car. On the passenger side it's not too bad. But all we got to do is take this little guy and we're just going to twist it. It says twist to open, but you'll see when I twist it, it actually disconnected the little connector right there. That's kind of nice. So you just give it a little twist and then give it a little pull. Now that's the difference in a D2S and a D1S, is because this little guy is removable for a D2S. So that's your little igniter. Alright, so we got that. Now there sits our bulb. So our little connector is right here, and like I say, this is the difficult part, is putting that little connector in. Getting the bulb out is not hard at all. So now all we got to do is take our old bulb out and we'll put our new bulb in. So let me zoom in here just a little bit so you can see. Alright, so to get the bulb out for the swap out, there's just this little black ring that locks it on there. So it's not difficult to do, but the orientation of the ring gets kind of confusing when you get ready to put it back on. So what I want to do is put a little mark right there so I can see what's up top. That way I know when I take the little connector on the outside loose, I'll know which way it goes in there. But all you got to do to get the bulb out, and we got our little connector wire out of the way here, is reach in there and give it a little twist. I'll see if I can do it with my fingers like that, and you can see it goes about that far. Now as soon as you twist it loose, go ahead and grab the bulb end and pull the bulb out, because they're going to come out together. So there you go. So we got all of that disconnected. Now we can swap out with our new bulb. Alright, so for the new bulb swap, this is where the little cotton glove they gave you comes in, because you don't want to touch that other bulb with your greasy little fingers, or else the bulb's going to go out. So now we got our glove on. We're going to use one for this side and one for the other side. Now we can grab a bulb out of our bulb box and we can reinstall. So it's pretty easy to do. You just have to be a little careful and not drop it. And so what we want to do is put it in with this pointing downward. You'll see it goes in like a little lock like that, and then you want to set it up in there and get it to line up on the tabs. Now it should stay up in there long enough that you can get that ring on it. And so now this is where our little mark comes into play. We know where that goes, so it's real easy. All we do is grab our ring and we put our ring back on and we lock it back in place. Boom. And there you go. So we just changed out our bulb. So that's the easy part. Now the hard part comes, and I can take my glove back off now because I'm not messing with the bulb anymore. But the hard part comes in getting that little connector connected back up right here on this little igniter. Because if you make the mistake of connecting it up before you put the bulb on, it actually locks a little tab inside of here, and you're going to have to get a little pry tool and you're going to have to push that tab back. So you can't put the connector on until you put this guy on the bulb. So now we twisted it sideways. All we got to do is put it back in there in the orientation it was and then lock it back. So do that first. Don't try to connect this connector up first, or else you'll lock the little mechanism and then it won't go back on the bulb, and you'll have to take a little tool and push the little mechanism back that's on the inside of this guy to get this to connect up. So now, last thing on the list is just to grab the little connector, and we're going to put him back where he came in. So this is the hard part for me, because everything's in the way and I have difficulty getting my hands in there to get that connector up inside there. So we got to fiddle a little bit. Might get in the way of the camera. Now this is the worst part. Like I say, you can't put it on first, because then you can't get the module in there. And so, quite annoying, as you can see. Alright, so I gave up with my fingers because it's just not working. So I'm going to use a pair of long needle nose here, and I'm going to try to grab the connector and get it started in the little hole. Carefully holding the little guy. And see if we can't get it to line up with the hole there. So there, we got the connector started in the hole. You can see it tried to twist sideways. So now you just push the connector back in. And like I say, that's the most annoying part for me, is getting that little connector back in there. So we're all done on this side. Now, all we got to do is cover it back up. So we just take our little cover and we hook its little feet back in, push it back in until it locks, and then tip our little cover back down here. And then we just put our screw back in. So there we go. So as simple as that. We got the bulb changed out. Now we just got to do the other side. And it's daylight outside right now, so it won't do me much good to go for a drive for my comparison. But I'll wait till this evening when it gets dark, and then we'll do a drive, and then I can put the video side by side on the screen so we can see the comparison of these two bulbs for these AUTOONE D2S versus my original Xenons that I had in there. Alright, so let's get that other side done, and then next stop we'll go for a ride and we'll do a comparison. Alright, so we got our AUTOONE D2S bulbs installed now, and they are pretty bright. They look pretty good, so won't know till I get back and I can put the videos together to compare, but overall they look really nice. They actually look pretty bright. Here comes a oncoming car. They probably think I got my brights on, but this car's got good cutoff, so it's not too bright for them. But overall, we'll go around these curves and then we can compare how these look to the OE Xenons that were in the car before. So just for giggles, I'll roll my window down so you can hear how loud this V10 is when you throttle up. Quite a nice car indeed. So we need to make sure we got some good lights on this car so we can see what's going on these curvy Tennessee roads. Alright, so after comparing side by side on the screen there in the video, you can see that the AUTOONE bulb is as bright as these OE Philips bulbs that I had in the car. They're both Xenons and they're both the same wattage and everything, so that's good. At least it shows that they're a comparable bulb, and they cost a little bit less. You can get them out on the website on AUTOONE. I'll put a link in the description there and you can find them. So there you go. There's an option if you're looking for a D2S bulb for your Pre-LCI BMW or any of the other cars that take the D2S style. Well, alrighty. Well, thanks for watching.